Hey everybody, it's Dan with Philosophical Fishing. I hope you're doing well today. I hope your healing journey is going well. This will probably be the last video that I do for 2022. I'm going to Florida next week and I'm going to be with family for a little while. And so I wanted to try to make one last video before the year was up, as it'll probably be another week and a half or maybe even 2 weeks before I upload another video for you guys. But I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about how this year for me has not been the easiest year at all. It's been a lot of challenges for me from the beginning of the new year up until this point, and it's not been a smooth, easy ride. The beginning of 2022 in February, I got hit with COVID, and it was my first time having it, and it really knocked me on my ass. I mean, I got really sick for quite a while. I was in bed for like a week, and I just had no energy for many weeks after that. And right around that same time when I got hit with COVID, my job was changing. My job title changed, my responsibilities at work changed, and also my pay changed right at the same time. And for some reason, when I got COVID in February, I got really depressed. And it wasn't like necessarily my circumstances in life. It really felt like it was physiological, like it was biochemical. 3 or 4 days into having COVID, I just knew that something changed inside of me. Like I just walked outside one day and I just felt this intense sadness come over my body, and it was just hit me out of nowhere. And I guess it's pretty common with people, especially people who have had mental illness in their life or have suffered from depression previously, that COVID has the real possibility of somehow, like turning on some switch inside our body that causes some pretty intense depression. And I had that for quite a few months actually, and it was just tough. It was hard, and along with having COVID and having my job change, there was just a lot of unknowns and a lot of questions. I didn't know what to expect, and whenever that happens, it can definitely bring up anxiety. So kind of COVID came and went, and my job changed, and then I went into the summertime, and then my family and I were looking to move possibly from Florida, where we lived, to North Carolina. And so I was looking for jobs and I was trying to line up some interviews, and then I came up to North Carolina. I found a job. We found a house the very next day that we could rent, and things just happened fast. And all of a sudden now I was moving, and I had lived in Florida for 18 years, and now I was moving up to North Carolina, and I didn't know anybody up here. I don't have any family here, no friends, nothing. So we kind of just like went on a whim, and I happened to land in a job that was, I'll just say it was a pretty toxic environment. And I realized very quickly that this was not somewhere that I really wanted to be, but I really didn't have any other option at the time. So I just kind of went along and, made the best of it and did the best job that I could do. And then this past November, just about a month ago, we got an email saying that our company was being sold to another company and we were getting bought out. So again, everything changed again, and I was really dealing with a lot of internal anxiety, depression, fight or flight, nervous system dysregulation. And I just, it was like, okay, here, things are changing again. And what do I do about it? How can I make the best of it? And what's something that I can do to just navigate these ever changing tides in life? That life is just, the only constant is change. And so it was a matter of navigating some pretty turbulent waters for me for quite a while. and now we're coming up on the new year. It's Christmas time, at least here in the US, and it's a time that you're almost kind of like expected to be a certain way, joyful, happy, grateful. And I am all those things too. I hold space for being frustrated, for being depressed, for being anxious, and I also hold space for being joyful, for being grateful, and for being thankful for everything that I have, because I do have a lot. And I do have so much to be grateful for. I truly do, and I try to take stock of those things every single day. But at the same time, I'm not going to deny when I'm also feeling the challenges of life, and when I'm feeling that my nervous system is trying to adjust to a lot of big changes. And that's happening, that's been happening all year, and it's happening again now. So my family and I are going down to Florida next week. I'll be out of town for about a week and a half. That's why I'm probably not going to make a video unless somehow I get the opportunity or chance to actually to make one and upload one. I definitely will if I get the chance. I'm just going to enjoy that time. I'm going to take some time to relax and to try to be present. That's key for me. And it's kind of cheesy, but during the holidays we get presents and we get to be present. I get an opportunity to practice being completely present in the moment as I go through this holiday season, being around family and traveling and all the things that go with it. I think even though this year has been extremely challenging for me in so many ways, it's also shown me and taught me a whole lot. As I said, without going through what I've gone through this past year, I probably wouldn't have even started this YouTube channel, which is kind of something I've wanted to do for the past few years. I've had the idea in the back of my head to start a YouTube channel to try to help people and talk about my experience. But for me, oftentimes, I have to get so uncomfortable that life will actually force me to change something, or to look at something in a different way, or to push me in a new direction. And I think that's the case for many of us, if not all of us, is that when we go through really, really hard, challenging, tough times, we can use that and let that be a catalyst for change for us, where we can be completely pushed into a new direction that turns out to be actually like a very, very huge blessing for us. If we let that happen, the trick is not to become so bitter and so callous and so angry or defensive that we let the darkness force us down into a cave, and we let the depression, the anxiety completely override us. One thing I always like to say is not why is this happening to me, but how is this happening for me? What's this trying to show me? And then I can use tough experiences to continually learn something from. And maybe not right away. Maybe it's a lesson that's going to be unfolding over time, that's going to constantly open new chapters in my life and show me different things and force me to look at life in a different way, and then give me a completely new perspective. And that's happened over and over and over again in my life, whether I was on benzos or whether I was off benzos. But certainly being off benzos and being off drugs and being sober gives me an opportunity to look at things with a clear mind and a clear conscience, and let those lessons absorb into me much faster and much better than I could if I was on benzos. Certainly when I was on benzodiazepines, it made me run a lot, and it made me numb myself out a whole lot, because it was very tough for me to sit through the pain when I didn't know how. I didn't have tools to use when really painful challenges came my way. And oftentimes for me, it's emotional challenges, not just life situation challenges, but it's how those life situations affect me emotionally. And it would often tear me down to the point to where I couldn't deal with life, because I felt so overwhelmed by what was going on, and my emotions would completely get the best of me. And so, I didn't know how to grow through challenges. I didn't know how to go through them, and I didn't know how to grow through them. It just wouldn't happen. But since coming off of benzos and since finding a spiritual path to be on, I know that I have the tools and the abilities to not only go through challenges, but also allow those challenges and accept those challenges into my life, where it then can propel me on to better and better and newer things. And I keep shedding the old skin of who I used to be and coming into something new. And so that's why, even though this past year in 2022, I've had all these challenges that have been really, really hard at times, I also have seen already, coming up on the end of this year, how those things have pushed me into new territories that I may not have otherwise gone into. It's forced me outside my comfort zone so much, and it's made me so uncomfortable so often this past year, that it's forced open new doors for me, and it's given me new perceptions and new insights, and also it's forced me to look at things in a new way, in so many different aspects, to where I've shed more and more judgment that I've had, judgments on life and judgments on other people, because I've noticed for me that it's so easy to judge somebody else's situation or who they are or how they act, until sometimes I'm confronted with the exact same thing, and then I go, oh, okay, now I kind of see what this person was dealing with. It's so easy to judge other people, but if you're not in their shoes, if you haven't walked their path, if you haven't had their childhood, if you haven't had their experiences, it's very easy to cast a judgment on them for who they are and how they act. I've just noticed that over this past year, I've felt more and more that the judgments that I've had against other people or against life have fallen from me. And I know that going through this past year too, I've dealt with it with much more acceptance than I've ever had in my entire life. And that's not to say that acceptance necessarily softens a blow of it, but I definitely don't have to dig any deeper when challenges do come my way. In other words, I don't have to let a challenging situation or a challenging set of emotions drive me further down into deeper depression and deeper despair or deeper anxiety. My old tools to deal with life when I felt really bad was to beat myself up and try to figure out, like, why is this happening, and why am I feeling this way? And I would make myself feel bad for feeling bad, which just compounds the pain that I was feeling. Instead, now I just accept that, yeah, I might feel like shit right now, or I might feel really anxious, or I might feel really depressed, or I just have a lot of uncertainty in my life right now. I don't know where my next job is going to be, and I don't know what my next source of income is going to be. But having this level of trust that I know that whatever it is, whatever's coming my way, the universe is going to unfold as it will. And my job is just to pay attention, to be present, and to follow that, and to let that path open before me. Because if I'm spiritually aligned in such a way that I keep as much presence in my life as possible, and I keep on a path of trying to do the next right thing, and trying to be of service, and trying to help people, then I've seen over and over again that it's not my thinking mind, my rational mind, that's going to figure out every little detail of how my life is going to unfold into the next step. Instead, I can actually take a breath, relax, and trust in the universe, and trust that it's going to unfold exactly the way that it should. I'm going to learn the lessons that I need to in the right timing, exactly as I should. And then I'm also going to be provided for. The universe is going to give me exactly what I need, exactly when I need it. And I've seen that happen in my life over and over again. And the worst thing that I can do when I'm confronted with a challenge is to let my mind just run amok, and my overactive imagination and my overactive thinking try to figure out everything for me. And when in actuality, I'm not actually figuring out anything. It's just compounding and adding to my level of stress and my level of anxiety. So that's why I think these spiritual tools like meditation and exercise are very helpful. And yes, exercise is actually a spiritual tool for me in my toolkit. It's something that I use all the time. I went to the gym for over an hour yesterday, and I know that it helped me. It helped me sleep better. I woke up today feeling better, and I actually just came back from about an hour walk around my neighborhood, and it was cold, and it was uncomfortable outside, but it felt really, really good to just put my earbuds in and walk around for quite a while. And so when you're in the middle of feeling depression or feeling anxiety and uncertainty, it's really hard to know that things are going to be okay and the universe is going to work it out for you. The trick is not to let yourself spin out so badly that you're compounding to the frustration and you're compounding the emotional distress that you're in, but letting the universe do its thing through you and accepting where you're at and knowing that where you're at is perfect. The darkness that you might be feeling is perfect. The pain that you might be feeling is perfect. And there's a purpose for it, and there's a real healing in letting the universe do its work in you and experiencing the darkness and experiencing the pain. And it's actually the perfect time of year, at least if you're in the northern hemisphere, to let it do its thing, to let the darkness be in you, to let the darkness go through you. We're coming up on the winter solstice, which is the darkest day of the year, and you can let that be a metaphor for whatever's going on in you. I know it's been going on in me, and that's why I'm trying to be transparent with you guys to let you know that I also experience it. I'm not immune from the universe doing its work in me, and some of that work is darkness, and some of that work is going to be letting myself feel the anxiety and the depression and the pain, and knowing that ultimately it's going to produce something beneficial, not only for me, but for other people as well, because I know that I'm here not just as a lone vessel, an island in this world. I'm here to also be a part of the whole plan of humanity and of life on this planet, and to be a source of light and love to people in this world. And that's what I would love to do, and that's what I would love to be here for. And so I'm going to let myself continue to expand. I'm going to let myself continue to be uncomfortable when that needs to happen, to accept it on a certain level, and to keep going and seeing what happens. And so, all you guys that are on this channel with me and subscribing and sharing your stories with me and being vulnerable, and also supporting other people who are coming along in their darkness and their benzodiazepine journey or wherever they're at. We are all in this together. This is our community, and we share a common purpose to try to be a source of love for other people who are coming along. And that's an awesome thing to be a part of, because it helps me know that there is an ultimate utility and purpose for pain. And if it helps me to shed more judgments, to be able to identify with other people who have also been in the darkness for any length of time, and to be able to identify with more people on that level, then I know that it's okay. Whatever I experience can ultimately be used for good for somebody else. So wherever you're at, or whether you celebrate the holidays or a different holiday or no holidays at all, I still want to wish you a merry, happy holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you're celebrating. Most likely, I'll see you guys in the new year. As I said, I probably won't be making a video next week. Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to 2023. I'm looking forward to seeing what it brings, and I'm looking forward to making a whole lot more videos. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you guys have any other ideas for content that you'd like to see, go ahead, leave me a comment, and I try to read everything, and I try to respond to as many people as possible. So, as always, I love you guys.